Welcome to Easy English, your go-to channel for improving your English and life.
Ever consider that? Really profound lessons, about leadership, about improving yourself, can pop up in places you might not expect.
Absolutely. Sometimes the most compelling stories come from, well, corners of the globe we don't always focus on day to day.
Exactly. And today we're going to explore one such story from West Africa. It really might shift how you think about leading and personal growth.
Yeah, our focus today is on Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He's the current interim leader of Burkina Faso.
Oh,
And by looking into his journey, his actions, we're hoping to unpack some pretty fundamental ideas about effective leadership, the importance of discipline.
which is often underestimated, I think.
Totally. And also the quiet power of humility.
And we're basing this on a really fascinating conversation we've looked at, right? It goes into his background, how he came to lead.
Right. The circumstances around that, and also his vision for the country. It offers a pretty unique perspective. Definitely not your standard leadership manual stuff.
So the goal for you listening is, well, pretty straightforward.
We want to pull out some practical things, real insights about leadership, about developing yourself from Captain Traoré's experiences.
Things you can actually think about and maybe use in your own life, whatever you do, wherever you are.
Exactly. Doesn't matter if you're leading a team or just navigating daily life.
Okay, so to really get a handle on Captain Traoré's story, we probably need a bit of context about Burkina Faso itself.
Good idea. Yeah, it's a landlocked country right there in West Africa, no coastline.
Landlocked, meaning it's surrounded by other countries.
That's it. 6 neighbors, actually. You've got Mali, Niger, Ghana, quite a few others. So it's in a key spot regionally.
And population-wise.
Around 22 million people call it home.
Wow. And languages. I know French is often official in the region.
It is. French is the official language used for government, education, that sort of thing. But, and this is amazing,
What's that?
there are over 60 local languages spoken across the country. 60.
Seriously. That speaks volumes about the cultural richness there.
It really does. And culturally, Burkina Faso is widely known for the warmth of its people, real hospitality.
That's lovely to hear.
Yeah, and they have these vibrant, deeply rooted traditions. They celebrate them with big events, too, like the International Arts and Crafts Fair in Ouagadougou.
Oh, I've heard of that one. SIAO, right.
That's the one. And FESPACO, the Pan-African Film and Television Festival, both draw crowds from all over.
Okay, so that gives us a feel for the place. Now let's zoom in on the man himself, Captain Ibrahim Traoré.
Right. So Ibrahim Traoré, he was born March 14th, 1988.
Okay, so relatively young.
Very. Born in Bonduku, that's in western Burkina Faso. And apparently, even when he was young, certain characteristics stood out.
Like what?
People describe him as noticeably calm, thoughtful, but also really hardworking, even as a kid.
Calm and hardworking. That's an interesting combination. Suggests a certain focus.
It does. And he was
Okay.
apparently quite bright, intellectually curious, loved reading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, had a real interest in science, the natural world, which actually led him to study geology at university.
Geology. At the University of Ouagadougou, right?
Yeah.
That's unexpected for someone who ends up in national leadership.
It is. You don't immediately draw that line.
So what was the turning point? What made him shift towards the military?
It seems like he developed this really strong sense of responsibility, a feeling that he needed to serve his country more direct.
Call to service, almost.
Kind of, yeah. And that feeling, that conviction, is what guided him towards joining the military.
And once he was in, did he fit in quickly?
Apparently, yes. He seems to have earned respect pretty fast. People noticed his discipline, his natural leadership abilities.
There's a sense of fairness, too.
Exactly. A strong belief in fairness and justice. Those qualities really seem to resonate with his peers and those under his command.
What about him personally, just interacting with him?
The descriptions you hear are consistent. A good listener, someone who genuinely paid attention.
That's crucial.
And crucially, someone who could stay calm, even when things got really stressful or difficult. That composure stood out.
Okay, let's fast forward a bit then to 2022. It sounds like that was a pivotal time for Burkina Faso.
It really was. The country was facing a lot of complex challenges, security issues, economic pressures.
Creating a climate where people wanted change.
Definitely. There was a palpable sense, a desire for renewed hope, maybe a different path forward.
And that's the backdrop for Captain Traoré taking on a new role.
Precisely. It was October 6th, 2022, when he became the interim leader of Burkina Faso.
Interim leader. And his age was a big deal at the time, wasn't it?
Huge deal. He was 34. That made him the youngest national leader anywhere in the world at that moment.
Wow. That alone signals a shift.
A major shift.
And how was his rise presented? Was it about personal power or?
No, the narrative was quite different. The emphasis, at least publicly, was very much on protecting the country, restoring hope, restoring security for the people.
Not personal ambition.
That wasn't the framing. His stated aims were more about, rebuilding trust, improving daily life for citizens, bringing more safety and stability.
And his approach, his actual style of leadership once he was in that role, that seemed different too.
It really did. He very notably adopted a simple lifestyle, made a point of avoiding luxury, any kind of ostentatious display.
Like rejecting the usual perks of power.
Sort of, yeah. And he made a real effort to engage directly with ordinary people, to actually listen to their problems, their concerns.
That kind of humility. It must have made an impact.
A huge impact by many accounts. It really resonated, especially perhaps with younger Burkinabe.
Why especially the young, do you think?
Maybe they saw someone closer to their own generation, someone breaking the mold. He became, for many, a kind of symbol of hope.
Interesting. Okay, let's widen the lens a bit. What about internationally? How is he engaged with other countries?
Well, he's been pretty active on that front, too. He seems to prioritize building positive, collaborative relationships.
Why the focus there?
The underlying idea seems to be that cooperation, strong international ties are really key for Burkina Faso's development, for creating opportunities for its people.
And we've seen him at some major international events.
We have. His attendance at the Russia-Africa Summit, for instance, got a lot of attention. He met with leaders there, including Vladimir Putin.
Right.
And these kinds of meetings, they're platforms, right, for discussing mutual interests, potential partnerships, that kind of thing.
And when he speaks, either at these events or more generally, what themes keep coming up?
There are definitely recurring ideas, a big emphasis on development, economics, social progress. Job creation is huge.
Understandable.
In strengthening those international partnerships we mentioned. But also, he talks a lot about discipline, personal responsibility.
Interesting. Bringing it back to individual conduct.
Yeah, and he often links that to the potential of young people.
Ah, the youth focus again.
Consistently. He emphasizes their importance, their role in driving positive change, not just in Burkina Faso, but, globally.
Okay, so takeaway from his story.
Well, I think the first big one that jumps out is discipline. His military background clearly instills that.
Right.
But it's broader than just military discipline. It's about staying focused on your goals, being consistent, especially when things get tough. Leading a country through instability, that takes immense discipline.
Absolutely. Sticking to the plan,
Yeah.
even under pressure. Okay, wait, let's lesson 2.
Humility, I think. We touched on his lifestyle choices. His example kind of shows that real leadership doesn't need flashy displays. Sometimes the most powerful leaders are the ones who are calm, approachable, kind, genuinely trying to help.
Those aren't weaknesses, they're strengths.
Exactly. They build trust, they foster collaboration. Think about a leader who listens, who seems like one of the people. That inspires a different kind of loyalty than someone who's distant.
Makes sense. And the third takeaway, it seems to redefine leadership itself almost.
I think so. It frames leadership less as about power or control.
And more about
Service, helping others, supporting them, empowering them to reach their goals, improve their lives. It shifts the focus from me to us.
That's a powerful shift. And importantly, these aren't just principles for presidents or CEOs, right?
Not at all. They apply to everyone, whether you're a student trying to do well, a teacher, part of a community group, working in an office.
How so? How do we apply them day to day?
By leading by example, maybe. Through your own actions. Working hard, being diligent, treating people around you with kindness, with respect. That is leadership in your own sphere.
Yeah, that really connects personal growth with understanding leadership better. It's something we often talk about here.
It's totally interconnected. Think about, say, learning a language. What does that take?
Patience, definitely.
Yeah.
Discipline to practice.
Right, and communication skills, obviously. Plus, you need to be open to understanding different cultures, different perspectives.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Those qualities, patience, discipline, communication, understanding, they're exactly the same things that make for effective leadership in almost any setting. Captain Traoré's story just kind of illustrates that in a specific context.
So as you, the listener, work on developing your skills, maybe learning English or anything else?
You're also building those core traits: discipline, focus, even courage, resilience. It's all part of becoming a more capable person.
You're essentially practicing leadership in your own life.
Exactly right. You're shaping yourself, and that has ripple effects.
Okay, to help cement some of these ideas, let's quickly go over a few words we used. First up, interim.
Right. Interim just means temporary, serving for a limited time until something more permanent is in place, like an interim leader.
Good. Next, hospitality.
Hospitality is all about being welcoming and generous to guests or strangers. That warmth Burkina Faso is known for.
Got it. Then discipline.
Discipline involves self-control, sticking to rules or principles, staying focused on a goal, like the discipline needed for consistent effort.
And finally, humility.
Humility is about having a modest view of your own importance. It's the opposite of being boastful or arrogant.
Okay, vocabulary refreshed. Now, a little challenge for you listening.
Yeah, something to make you think actively.
Think about a leader you admire. Could be anyone famous, local, family member, anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And try to write down or just formulate in your head 3 sentences about them. But here's the key part.
Try to use at least 2 of those words we just reviewed. Interim, hospitality, discipline, or humility.
It's a great way to connect these concepts to your own experience. You could write them down, say them out loud, maybe tell someone.
Whatever helps you internalize it. The active part is what matters.
Well, that brings us towards the end of our exploration today. We'd genuinely love to know what you thought about Captain Traoré's story, about these ideas.
Yeah, did anything resonate? And if you found this conversation useful or thought-provoking, maybe give it a like, share it, or subscribe so you catch our future discussions.
We really aim to keep bringing you engaging stuff, things that hopefully broaden your understanding and help with your own personal development journey.
So thank you, really, for spending your time with us today. Keep that curiosity going.
Keep practicing, keep learning, keep aiming for that self-improvement.
Until next time.
Take care.